Well, we talked the offensive side of the ball last week. Let's talk some defense now. A struggle in 2016 for this Liberty defense was stopping the run. They gave up over 5 yards per carry. Do you see that as kind of the biggest objective for this defense, being able to improve in that regard, or is it something else?
No, I think obviously they're really working on that up front to be able to bring that average down into the twos or the low threes. That number has to come down because that's a big chunk of change every time an offense can get ground out over 5 yards on the ground per carry. But, to me, it all starts up front. You got to have the two guys at the edge that can get upfield, and you got to have the two shutdown corners. And I hope Peters and Turner, I think, are the two guys because they've got experience. Chris Turner's got a wealth of talent. At 6'2 and a half, it's just the problem for him is just putting on weight. But he is an extremely talented kid. Juwan Wells is coming off of surgery, but he's got an abundance of talent. And then you got Devontae Brown on the other side. So those two guys, those two edge rushers, have really got to play well.
I think for me, leadership on that defense is what I'm looking at right now. We're going to talk about some of the linebackers that are not back anymore. So where are you going to get those upperclassmen that haven't been needed to be counted on for leadership? Where's that going to come from? Because it's so vital to get those 11 guys excited and rambunctious to be a force defensively. So leadership is kind of an intangible right now that I'm going to be looking on early on.
You talk about that. Two key losses, Dexter Robbins, the Tennessee Ninja, as we know him, and Nick Newman at the linebacker position. Leadership, but also production. They were second and third on the team in tackles. Who fills that void of both production on the field, but also the leadership void this year?
Well, obviously those guys were very productive, but a little bit undersized, to be honest. I think in Robert Wimberly's scheme of things, I think he likes tall, linear guys that can take on blocks and get out in space, cover backs out of the backfield. And I think they found that, especially with the class that's coming in. It's good. The key is going to be, are they going to reach down into that freshman class and play those guys? But they've moved McGinty, and I think that's more of his at-home position. He's a big kid. We talked about this last year. He likes to play close to the line, and I think that's his home.
Yeah, and speaking of the linebacker core, it always seems like that's a group we always focus on because of their athleticism. Ryan Davis is a guy that I think can help fill some of those voids. Jalen McKinney, a couple of guys in the back of your mind. I think I remember that
names
name.
You've heard, you just haven't necessarily seen a lot on the field.
Not like a Nick Newman or Scott Hyland, Nick Sigmund from about 4 years ago. But those are some names that you're going to start hearing about because they're just going to be needed to fill some of those voids of those upperclassmen that are no longer here anymore.
We talk about some of the guys we expect to be great. Juwan Wells, we all, I think, would say should be the standout player defensively for this squad. Who's the guy, though, that's not a household name right now that at the end of the season you're going to be saying, boy, that guy, he was huge for us?
Well, I'm hoping that at the nose position, Greg Story. Because
former offensive lineman.
When he gets off the bus, he looks like an NFL guy.
He's another bus.
He's got everything. I mean, he's just a big guy, and I know Vance has done a tremendous job getting him ready to play on the defensive side of the ball. But if he can play the nose the way they want him to, where he can occupy two guys and maybe get upfield and have pressure, he's going to make that defensive line so much better. That's my guy that I'm really hoping on.
It's still early to tell how the back end is going to develop, but a name that, again, in the back of your mind, Jeremy Peters. Hasn't been 100% healthy in his entire career here, but that's a name I think we're going to hear a lot about. And some guys just early on, the results in, he played a little bit last year, Brandon Tillman. Very good athletic guy.
Last year, too. He made
early
some plays.
on and then didn't play as much later on in the year, but he's made a couple of plays I've seen in preseason practice that some Pro Bowlers don't make. So, again, two names just maybe to think about as we move on.
Well, they're going to be tested early, first game at Baylor. We'll talk about that game and the schedule in 2017 when we return next week.